guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a video I'm really excited for because this is a subgenre of romance I've been getting super into lately, and I've been obsessed with these authors and all their books, and that is small town romances. Now this video is actually in collaboration with Caitlin from The Love Librarian, so she is also posting her favorite small town romances. Please go check Caitlin out. I love her so much. I barely got to see her in Nashville. She was more so hanging out with Tori and Sam because I got there super late to the signing because traveling debacle, it was a hot mess, but I got to the signing and Caitlin had chatted with Tori and Sam, and then after that Caitlin started her own YouTube channel. I've been chatting with her on Instagram and I just love the content she's making, and so we are collabing for this video. Please go check her channel out. She actually has a really good video about signing tips for book signings, and as someone who's been to a lot of book signings, I think that her tips are so great. So if you're interested in going to book signings and you are going to some and you're nervous, check out her video and just check out her channel in general. Check out her small town romance recs. I can't wait to see what she recommends, but here are my favorite small town romances that I've read. A lot of these are actually from the past couple months. So the first one is the only traditionally published on this list, but I thought it was so good, and that is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This one I listened to on audio. Actually, a lot of these I listen to on audio because my library is great with having all of these, but for this one, it is actually a sapphic romance, and our heroine is not from the small town. She used to live there and she moved. She's a photographer. Now she's back photographing her stepsister's wedding, and now her father had died and she feels like her stepsister and stepmother don't really like her. She's a burden to them. She never fit in. She was just very sad in high school, and so she was a loner, kept to herself, so she moved as soon as she could, and now her stepsister has a really tight group of friends, and one of them is the other heroine who is a single mom. She owns a bookstore, and she sees our other heroine Delilah walk into the bar, and Claire is like, ooh, who is that? She's like instantly like, I want to know who that is, and she starts hitting on her at the bar, and Delilah looks a bit different than she did in high school, so Claire just doesn't recognize her, quickly realizes who she is, and they've just spent a lot of time together because they're both in the wedding and they have to go on all these different things for the wedding, and so it's forced proximity and revolving around a wedding, which I love. We have a single parent, and Claire's also trying to deal with things with her ex and always wanting to like go back with him and just finally saying no and falling for Delilah, and it's so good. And it's all in a small town, can't keep secrets from one another, lots of rumors, and Delilah also has to confront her feelings with her stepsister and her stepmother and just why she felt the way she did growing up, and I just really love this one. Definitely check this one out. Then I have a few from, I'll go by author, so I have a few from each author that I love, and the first one, iconic, Devney Perry. I feel like when you think of small town romance, you think of Devney Perry, so the first one that I enjoyed by her is Indigo Ridge. Now, I do not love her Jameson Valley series, it's just not for me, but I really loved Indigo Ridge. A lot of these small town romances, except for Delilah Green, did not have it, have a sense of romantic suspense in them, and there's some kind of element at the end. Typically they end up getting kidnapped somehow, but this one, our heroine's a new chief of police and she's coming from out of town, and I think her relatives are from this town, and they tell her like, if you get in with this family, you'll be good. Well, she's at a bar, she sees this guy, he says he's passing through, they have a really hot one-night stand. She realizes he's the son of the family she needs to get close to, and he's not from out of town. He owns a ranch in town, and he has a pretty influential family, and so there's a dead body found on his land. People are like, that's the third suicide in like 10 years. People just go there when they want to do that, and she is like, this is fishy. She had a really great life and maybe something was going on we didn't know, but I want to get to the bottom of it. And so the town is like, stop digging into this, like it's already really hurting the town is grieving, like we don't need to dig up things into these people who have lost their lives. But our heroine is like, I'm gonna look into it, and so she starts uncovering things, all the while falling for our hero. Our hero really doesn't like her when he realizes who she is. She's seen as an outsider, someone who got her position because she knew people, and it was fun as a small town romance because they really have that stigma against outsiders. And there was an element of suspense in here, but I'm excited for book 2 because book 2 was a single parent and I heard it's even better. But this one I enjoyed by Devney Perry, and I also enjoyed Tattered by Devney Perry, and this one's actually a hidden baby romance or a secret baby romance, so but like not on purpose. For Tattered, our heroine has a one-night stand at a bar with a hero and he leaves. He's actually super wealthy and she can't track him down. So years pass, I don't even know, it's like 8 years pass, and she's been raising her daughter alone. She never knew his name, and she tried to find him but never found him. And then I think her grandmother's the one that reached out to him and told him to be an investor in one of their things happening in the town, and so he shows up back in town, sees her, and he's like, oh my gosh, I remember you, like it was amazing our time together. And she was like, yeah, about that. She immediately tells him about her child, so it's not like she's keeping it a secret from him, but he had no idea he has like an 8-year-old child, and she does not make it easy on him. I really loved about this is that the daughter didn't want to move. She didn't want all the fancy things he had. She wants to stay in their town. She wants to continue doing, I think she plays soccer, like she likes her life, and she's like, I don't want to move. And she gets upset when he's trying to change things, and so he really has to earn her trust and grow closer to her, which I really appreciated. And it was just a really fun small town romance, one that had a trope I typically don't love but realized I do. Like, I don't mind it when it's really, really early on and then time passes. I love a good time jump in a romance, so this one I really enjoyed as well, and I'm excited to continue on the series. I already got 2 and 3 on audio from my library, so hopefully I enjoy the rest of the series. Then I have The Wreckage of Us by Brittany C. Cherry. This one turns into a rock star romance, which was not my favorite, but I really love the beginning of it with the small town atmosphere. So our heroine has a really bad past. She is from a family where her mom is a drug addict, and she's married, I think she's married to the guy who provides her with drugs. He's not a good guy, and she has a boyfriend that's not really good, and so she breaks up with the boyfriend and tries to get a job on this farm. A lot of small town romances have farms and cowboy heroes, and I just love it. And so she gets a job on this farm. She is not equipped for it at all, but she shows up to get her training. The guy who's supposed to train her is the hero. He is busy with another person, and our heroine walks in on them. He does not stop. He is like, I don't have time for you, I don't care about you, and he is known to be a playboy. He is known to hook up with women and not really go that far because of his past, and so he hates our heroine, and he decides to put her through the ringer. He gives her so many jobs that normally like 3 or 4 men do, makes her do them on her own, but she never quits, and they grow closer. And then his band gets a big break, so they do get to go on tour, and it turns into a rock star romance where she's staying at home, he's on tour. How are they gonna make it work? But I just really love the beginning and how it's really bantery. He's really mean to her, but she's definitely a very strong heroine, and it was just a lot of fun. Another author I've become obsessed with is Cowles. She has the most gorgeous covers. So the first book by her that I love is Beautifully Broken Life, and so in this one, our heroine, I believe this one, she's running from an abusive ex, and the hero is actually a rock star. So this series are hit or miss for me. Book 1 was okay. I really liked book 2. Book 3 was okay, but I love book 4. So know that it like kind of has its ups and downs, but this one, she is running from an abusive ex. So she's hiding out in Sutter Lake. I believe she's working like in the cafe or something, and the hero is friends with the heroine from book 1, and the hero is a rock star, and he's kind of in a lull, and so he decides to hide out in their small town to write, sees her, starts falling for her, starts writing for her, but she is like, I can't be in the public eye, like I'm still running away from my abusive husband, like I can't get caught. And so know that going in, it's very serious in that aspect, and of course we have a little bit of suspense going in. He does have a stalker fan that comes into the picture as well, and then her husband is still out there, possibly able to find her. And so I do love 2 broken people learning to trust each other, and she's just trying to live her life on her own and then falls for him, and I just really like that one. But then I just finished this one today, and I love this so much. Like, this one was a 5-star read. Our hero is super, super wealthy, and he actually lost his sister when he was young, and he has always felt like it was his responsibility for losing her, and so he has dedicated his life to security. He is so smart. He like is a hacker. He could hack into things he's not supposed to, but he just does it anyways. And so he's very, very wealthy, but someone is possibly like leaking things in his company, and he just needs to get away. So he like shows up in this small town because his friends are from there, and he like buys an $8 million lake house just like by looking at it. He's like, this is perfect, buy it. And so he's really rich, and our heroine is running away from something. I feel like people always like run away to small towns for something to start over. So it starts off in the very beginning. Her father actually embezzled money, and I think it was embezzled money, whatever the terminology is. He stole money from victims, and so that caused a lot of them to die by suicide because they felt so helpless and they didn't have money. But she lived a very lavish lifestyle, so she helps turn her father in, and now she feels so guilty for living a lavish lifestyle. So she's living with no excessive things in her life, and she's giving back to a lot of people. She donates and she volunteers a lot, and so when the hero comes in, she is instantly like put off by his money when most women would be very intrigued by his money. And so he thinks she's hiding something, especially because she works with his friends and is close with his friends, so he's very protective of them. But then he starts realizing she has a secret that she's trying to protect herself from, and he grows closer with her and just wants to protect her and do everything for her, but she is like, I don't want your money, that's not impressive to me. And so it was just such a good romance, and of course we have some suspense in the end as well. I really enjoyed this one though, definitely 5 stars in this series. And the last one by Catherine Cowles is Tattered Stars. This one, stars, yes. I always don't know if it's stars or scars, but in this one our heroine grew up in a family that's very cult-like. They don't trust people, they don't trust medicine. It's very stereotypical like male-female roles, and the women can't do anything or have any rights. And so she grew up in that family, but her father had kidnapped a local girl and she saw it, hopped on her horse, turned them in, and so her dad's in jail, her family had to move, and they detest her, they hate her. She moved away too, but now she's back. She is on the family farm or ranch. She like inherited it and it's like super crumbling, falling down. She wants to rebuild it so she can have a rehab place for animals. That's like her dream. But the hero is the brother of the girl who was kidnapped, and he feels like it was his fault for her being kidnapped. So he puts all of his blame and anger on our heroine, even though she's the one who helped her. So he hates that she's back in town. He's trying to run her out, but then they grow closer. Someone else is trying to run her out, like burn down her farm and like sabotage a lot of things. And so she's just trying to show like she really wants to help people. She actually grows closer with his sister, who was the one who was kidnapped. I really hope she gets a book. There are 2 other books in this series, one that's already out and one that is coming out that I have an archive on my Kindle that I'm super excited to read. Catherine Cowles is quickly becoming a favorite small town romance author of mine. This one isn't as heavy on the romance, so know that it's more focused on the suspense, but I still really liked it. I love her covers. She's released a couple more of her future covers that are gorgeous, so check her out. Then I have Bittersweet by Sarina Bowen. This one I read a while ago, but I really loved it. It is kind of a second chance romance. I feel like the hero and heroine had gotten together previously, and now she is working for a restaurant, and the hero owns a farm where they make alcohol of some sort. I always forget what it is, but then they reconnect and it is their romance. That's really all I remember from this, but I definitely want to get back into the series. My library actually has a bunch of the audiobooks, so I do have book 2 downloaded, but I remember really loving this and really loving the family aspect, so this one is also one of my recommendations, even though the plot's a little fuzzy to me. And the last 2 I have are actually these 2 by Steiner. It's a whole 4-book series. These are the only 2 I own, so these are what I want to talk about. I really did love On the Rocks. This one, our heroine's actually engaged and she's back in town with her fiance, and she is touring the whiskey distillery. I'm pretty sure they own a whiskey distillery. She is the mayor's daughter, and so she is like very spoiled and rich, and our hero is one of the people who works at this distillery, and he's a little bit older than her, and it's their romance. I had so much fun with this, especially because she was engaged. I love a good she's off limits trope, so this one I really enjoyed. And then we have Neat, and this one I believe is book 2. There's this whole mystery over their father's death that overlaps the entire series. I don't know, it doesn't say the numbers inside or on the back cover. In this one, our heroine ends up having to work for the whiskey distillery, even though she said she never wanted to, and Logan is the boss, so it is kind of a workplace romance, and they end up falling for each other, but she really doesn't want to like him. She doesn't like anybody who works there. I think it's because her family was like screwed over by their family, I think is what had happened. It's been a while since I've read these, but it says the Beckers and the Scooters are the Montagues and Capulets of Tennessee, so they're kind of like family rivals, but she has to work for him, and it's really good. I really enjoyed the series. Definitely want to reread it at some point, but this was a really fun small town romance revolving around a whiskey distillery with a family of brothers, which I always love. Miss Darcy came to join me. Did you guys see her little tail? And I flipped it. There it is. Okay, those are my small town romance recs. Let me know if you have any favorites. I would love to hear yours and get more into small town romances by other authors. I have a bunch on my TBR. I have a bunch checked out from the library as well. Like I said, I listen to most of these on audio because they are so fun to get through. So let me know your recommendations and make sure you check out Caitlin's video. I cannot wait to get more recommendations from her, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.